Every time we talk about this,
it comes back.
that's weird. That is
No, 1.66.
apparently there's something going on here with orb sighting.
Like, I can't remember how many, and they were just like undulating in the air, and it freaked me out. I remember trying to get in the vehicle, and it just felt like that. I couldn't get in there fast enough. Whatever that is, like.
The ultra-terrestrial idea was only one aspect.
These things are aware of what we're talking about.
Are we dealing with some form of non-human intelligence?
There's a place that we have investigated for years where very strange phenomena seem to occur almost constantly. We call this place Wineberry. So, Wineberry.
Wineberry, or home away from home. That is probably one of my favorite research areas, and being able to go back out there every few months is just remarkable because the data that we pull from here is second to none.
To understand Wineberry, we need to go back to the very beginning.
13 minutes out, or 13 miles out, 21 minutes is what it's telling me.
You can't find Wineberry on a map. The name was given to it because of the proliferation of wineberries in the area. We knew that this site demanded serious research efforts, and 3 years later, we're finally able to release some of the data. What we thought was a hunt for a simple creature has turned into something a lot more. This is the documentation of the data that we have gathered at Wineberry so far. To understand that data, it's important that we go back to the beginning, at least briefly, to see how all of this started.
This is our first outing of 2021. Just a week and a half ago, there was audio recordings that got sent into us.
You know, the witnesses seemed very credible in this.
Yes.
So, you know.
The witness is a Marine veteran.
Yeah, so we're going to go out, document it, and see what we find. At least, you know, get the story, save the story.
Places like Wineberry exist all throughout West Virginia. They're hidden in hollows and hills where small communities have sprung up. Originally built by hard-working pioneers, mostly from the coal and timber industry, they have lived here on this land for years, passed down from family to family. These same families often pass down more than just land, though. Sometimes the inheritance is in the form of tales, terrifying and so strange at times that they may be best told around campfires on full moon nights.
And here we are driving out to the road.
Cemetery.
Nice.
I was given permission to film the interview. I could record it, audio and video. The only stipulation is that I could not show the witness's face or reveal her actual identity.
Okay, go ahead and tell your story. I got this thing recording right now.
Okay.
So just from the rock part.
Okay, I heard something to my left of me, and I turned my head, and I seen like a movement. And when I did, there was a humongous bipedal creature staring at me from behind those two trees right there. And it was so close that I could actually see his face. It's everything about this creature, and it was massive. It was the scariest thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. But for 5 seconds, I couldn't move. It was like I got stuck. My eyes just got stuck, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move, and it was like we were eye contact for it felt like forever, but I'm sure it was like 5 seconds, but it felt like to me forever. So I'm shaking. See where them two trees are right there? The two sticking out with the V shape?
Yeah.
Right behind that is a tree. You see that other tree behind it?
The big thick one with the green on the bottom?
Yes.
That's how far it was. kind of makes it hard to see. And
Wow, this was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah,
So,
it was like, I could see more clear. I don't know, just, I guess because of the brush.
About what time was it? Do you remember?
It was about afternoon.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So I think it was about
So you'd have had
afternoon.
clear view
Oh yeah,
coming
it
through
was
there,
a pretty
right?
day. Let's see how clear it is right here from there.
Yeah.
You can see everything.
So,
Just a little bit, just back up a little bit.
so right here against this pine tree.
Yeah, just a little bit back up, not far.
Tell me when.
Right in there.
So how much taller than me was it? Because I'm behind the tree.
Right. It was a lot taller than you. A lot
So like,
taller.
I'm gonna put my hand up.
Right, a little bit further. He was big, about right there.
Not right here.
Yeah, he was huge because he took up a lot of the.
4.5 feet wide.
Yeah, he looked about half, almost the size of a back truck bed.
The size sounded pretty familiar. It was consistent with most of the other cases that we had come across at this time.
There's multiple game trails down there. One of them is big enough and wide enough to where something large is moving through it on a regular basis. It's a very old game trail, so it's been there for a long time. Just to gather the size, location, and distance, what she saw was roughly around 7.5 feet tall, standing on a steep incline, and there were very wide game trails. Where something wider than me has been routinely using those game trails for a very long time because they were really worked over and worked down. So basically what I'm saying is I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's remote enough, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So now we're going to go to a second area, right?
Yeah, we're going to this pond and a spring where there hasn't been any activity around the pond and the spring. She just says it's real weird. It's got a weird feeling around it. But
That's a good place right now with this weather
yeah,
to look for tracks.
absolutely, because something is going to need water.
It's going to be water.
And if there's a fresh spring that's feeding this pond, there's a good chance that whatever's living in this area is visiting the pond, or will also be visiting that fresh spring where it comes out of the water.
I agree, yeah, absolutely.
There's two different ways to get to it. Everybody that's ever came in this holler said it feels eerie. You know, and to me, like, I'll tell you when I start feeling it.
We've actually had a lot of activity that takes place right around vernal pools. It's actually where John Tenney's account took place, and he was coming up to a spot very similar to this on the other side of the state. And as you can see, there's actually grass and things like that that are growing underneath the water that you would normally not see underwater. And it's because this pool is temporary. It fills up, it floods up, salamanders and frogs will come in here and breed and lay their eggs. As the water evaporates and goes down, all the critters that are born in here will migrate over there. Right here.
I see it. I do see it, but is that just
It could be pareidoia. We're just recognizing it as the shape of
Yeah.
a human foot, but
yeah.
this is fits the bill for where we're at. It's a deer.
Oh, I see
It's
it.
a deer.
The pockets right there.
Yep.
See this? This is a really good example.
Of how you can be fooled
Yep.
in the field.
That is a great example.
So
of how you
this
can fold.
this is a footprint going that way, and then you got 2 feet here.
Yep.
All you gotta do is clean them up
There's
sometimes.
another one right there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
There,
so you can
going
definitely
over.
see it right there.
Going over and leaning
You
in
just
here.
stepped on another one right there. So yeah, they're all over this bank getting water.
There were plenty of deer tracks lots of water, and lots of food sources for anything that could be living out here. We were heading into an area where witnesses claimed that they feel more uncomfortable than any other place on the property.
So we were just up there doing the recreation where the sighting took place, and we came down here to where this stream and everything's at. Otherworldly. Wow.
So here we go. So we're going to walk up this way. And now, this part you said makes you really nervous.
Yeah, it's the best part of the Holler that would have the most food sources and things that any animal would want to forage or eat. There's a lot of stuff that grows up here, water, animals. I mean, what animal wouldn't want to come up here and have a good dinner?
Sure.
I mean, it's a perfect place.
So that's why it makes you nervous.
Yeah, it makes me nervous because I know that if I were an animal,
this is where
I would
right?
be.
Every place we'd investigated up to now had a good water source, and this natural spring could be a very valuable resource. It could have also been under surveillance, as we received a very sharp wood knock from the ridge above us.
Homemade crawdad catcher?
Sure looks like it.
That's what I thought.
Looks like it.
It's either that or
That's crazy.
A water filter.
Oh
Catching out
yeah,
sediment.
it could be. What was that? What was that?
that is the sound.
Oh yeah, it could be. What was that? What was that?
Did you catch it? We have no idea what it was. We hung around the area for a little bit, but nothing ever repeated. I really hope we got that knock. That was impressive.
We had a knock, and I took off across the creek to see if we could hear anything or see anything move. But it was a pretty loud knock. I'm pretty sure we actually even caught it on the recorder. I did find this female eastern box turtle. It's been hollowed out and eaten.
Something made it.
Something made it, and it was broken into here. So this was actually broken into, not chewed on. So this is busted open manually. Just a short distance from where we heard the wood knock, we would find a field of tracks. We got toes. The idea was to not get overly excited and examine this for what it was. This has happened before.
Now we have done this several times, and it be like, and once again,
This is a bear.
it's a bear.
It is a bear. What we're looking at here in a bear footprint, this looks like humanoid because of the shape of it, but it's actually a bear double step. See how we have this nice V channeling right here? That is the rear foot of a bear. A bear's rear foot pad has a V shape. So what it will do is its front foot will come in, step here, and then it steps again right here, actually. And then the back foot will come back up and step almost like here's the front foot right here. The back foot comes in on the same side and will step down right here. So it's like boom, boom. And what that does is it'll create an artificial mid-tarsal break in some point. In certain footprints, you'll see an artificial mid-tarsal break, or as to what we interpret as a mid-tarsal break anyway. So yeah, that's...
Now you'll see this with bears a lot when they get startled, right? Like
you will.
They back
and
up
here's
slow.
actually... Here you can actually see some of the claw marks up in here once you push some of this back.
I see it.
See the claw?
Yes.
So yeah, that's just a bear double step is what we're looking at. It was a very, very interesting find, but this is why we do what we do. We dig and look, and we try to find the answer. Even a bear double step is a valuable data source to those who've never seen it. Yeah, something big is walked through here. Like here's another depression
I
here.
don't want to go first. Like y'all, I'll just point the way.
I mean, there's something big moving through here. So do you feel better about coming up here now that you've been up here with us?
Yeah.
Even though there is activity up here, you know, there is something here. What it is, I can't say, but do you feel better at least now,
I do.
knowing that, you know, you can come up here and be safe and not be too worried?
I really do.
All right, so we are actually on the walk back to the truck from where we heard that knock. And we just heard something really big move through a thicket. And when I say really big, we heard it from probably about 120 yards away.
Oh, at least.
So
it's on that ridge line.
There's something on that ridge.
And it came
and
this way.
It is big.
Yeah, whatever it is, it came that way.
Bears don't knock.
Unless they got smart.
Unless they got smart.
You know.
But that's, I like it. That's fun.
It's promising.
Yeah.
We had no idea how promising it actually was, but what happened next was completely unexpected.
It could have come down and on that way too. Harder ground. We're not going to leave depressions. Okay, so we actually found a footprint. Pretty happy about it. It looks like 5 defined toes.
So, found this of interest. And
Toes!
we do believe we have toes this time. So we're going to cast that out and see what that turns out to be.
I gotta go get my stick.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start pouring. We're gonna mix our hydrocal right now.
So it'll go down in the water then? Is that
Yeah, it
how
just see how it's displaced in the water?
Displaced in the water. I see that.
It'll be probably one of the hardest prints I've had to extract so far.
See that. Hear it.
Yeah, I hear it. Ripping the roots. You got it.
We got it.
We got it. We got it.
We got it.
Oh.
We got it. And there's a big old toe. I can see it already. We're gonna have to clean this bad boy off. But by God, if we don't have a toe that's already peeking through, that makes me happy. Did you get it?
We got something. I don't know what it is. We got something.
Oh man. That is a toe. That is a toe. So we're back. It's the day after.
Roughly 24 hours.
Yeah, since we got home.
Yep.
We have cleaned up the cast.
Yep.
It dried sufficiently.
Yep.
We got all the mud off of it. And
there it is, right?
We have toes.
We have toes. Okay.
We have toes.
All right, so
they're not the prettiest toes in the world.
Okay.
But we have toes. And when you see the cast beside the picture,
Yeah.
it is a dead ringer. Like
Okay.
it's obvious.
Okay, let's see it. Convince me. Show me.
So let's take a look.
All right, let's look at it.
You can see the toes. The big toe is probably the clearest. And you can see how big this is. I mean, you're looking at something that's 2 inches long by 1.5 inches wide on the first big toe. You have a separation here. There's another toe, followed by another toe, followed by another toe, followed by the last toe. So we're looking at 15 inches or 14.5 inches long by 8 inches wide at the toes. At the farthest out toe, it's 7 3/4 wide. And then at the width,
6.5 maybe.
we're looking at 6 inches wide in the middle of the foot. And then at the heel, right around 5.
Yeah. That's a pretty good size.
Look at that toe.
Look at that.
That is almost 3 inches of big toe by 2 inches wide.
That is amazing. That is something. That's not a bear.
That's not a bear.
No.
So
Yeah.
we had those other prints that were indescript that were roughly the same size as
Yes. Yeah.
And this right here, we lost this. This would have been awesome to get the ball of that foot. But there was just a big tuft of grass. You can see the roots there, and it just kind of So, I mean, we're really lucky to get what we got.
We're very lucky to get what we got in that condition. So.
And this is in a location the audio recordings were pulled from just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Which, you know, we got to look at it for what it is. That's pretty substantial.
It is.
In my opinion, it's pretty substantial.
It's pretty, whatever this was that left this track was big. Whatever it was.
Following our investigation, Beth decided to go out and conduct her own research into the area. What she found went far beyond just an ordinary Bigfoot phenomena.
It illuminates. I don't know what it is. And it goes from high to low. There it is again.
It was time for us to go back.
This should be good and set now, though.
Okay.
So we made a mold off the original because there were some other researchers who were wanting copies as well. And we did put her a metal hanger in it so she can hang it up on the wall. Here we are.
Beth had new leads for us. Since we left, she'd been gathering more and more data. Some of it, physical aspects of creatures. Subject A. Others, more Subject B.
Over the years, we've noticed a strange phenomena occurring where we have an overlap of high strangeness in perfectly natural environments. They also coincide with perfectly natural sightings. So we've created a category system of Subject A, Subject B. Part of the issue that we've discovered over the years is that you often have a Subject A and Subject B overlap. This has created a huge issue within the community. And this is where we come in. We want to redefine the lexicon. We want to create new ways to investigate these things at the same time while still being able to keep them separate.
With Subject A, we look for things like footprints, and we look for things like hair, for example. Anything that a physical creature can produce, we are going to throw into Subject A. Whereas Subject B seems to be more paranormal, such as radiation increases, anomalous lights, such as the orbs that we'll encounter from time to time, and strange electromagnetic signatures.
We want to do away with terminology like woo because it carries such a negative connotation. It's so valuable to keep everything on the table, to do our due diligence.
She claimed to have found evidence of what could be a family group living in the area. So we decided to go up and have a look around. She also had some videos she wanted to show us of what could be something in the woods. She'd gotten into the habit of patrolling an area where she thought there was activity. Every day she would drive through with a camera. On this particular day, she did catch something out in the woods. And we have no idea what it was. It does seem to be moving, but could that be a parallax effect? We're not sure. Here's a little bit of the footage that I've applied a zoom to and slowed down a bit so we can see. Whatever it is, it does seem to have form, but there's just not enough data.
It's right in here as we had that bear last time. So you're looking at the same area. He's still here.
Come here.
Okay. What am I looking at? Coming
Watch
down.
my shadow.
Coming down. Hang on. Go ahead. Got your shadow.
See that?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see it. I don't know what it is, but I see it.
This one may not have been recognizable, but the next one was pretty recognizable.
So here we are. We found more bear. See that nice V shape where it cuts in here? That's a bear, and then you can see the toes where the toes would be, and how that would be assumed to be not a bear. But then here's another foot right here.
Yeah.
It just walked up.
Walked right through
this
here.
path here. God, if this wasn't such a four-wheeler bogged down spot.
Yeah, anything with here is going to be run over at this point, and pretty much it'll look like right here. Look here.
I know.
You see this?
There's a parcel right here too.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's right there.
I mean, that's like 8 inches wide.
Yeah, it's just too much human traffic. I can't say anything. Like right here. This is
Yeah.
See that?
Same thing.
It's really good too, and it's look how at the stride, or the potential stride matches. So, but there's no way.
Yeah.
It's just
there's no way to actually justify it.
There was evidence that something very large had moved through this area.
You can see where it tore through here, though. Wow. Yeah, I'm filming the side of the run here. So it's definitely barreling up through there, right?
Oh yeah, I'm looking right into the mouth of a bear den. Well, aside from the weird noises and some strange readings,
There's something here.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what it is.
This place would only get stranger after we left, though.
Where are you?
Things would begin to escalate, and high strangeness would take over.
I see your eyes. What are you? I won't do it no more either. I'm going to leave this running. If there's something walks by and says something, oh well. If there's not, I don't care. But I don't ask questions. They don't talk to me. I don't talk to them. We don't do that. No communication no more. I don't know, but I'm going in the house. Yeah. That was loud. Yeah. Anytime that it seems like that I get close to finding evidence or seeing things that I'm not supposed to, I feel like not supposed to be recording, interferences start to happen with my audio. You guys ain't gonna see nothing, but you'll hear something. Listen. And that happens quite a bit here. I will collect evidence to point me one way, and I'm like, all right, man, I'm getting somewhere. And then get more evidence that absolutely stops me in my tracks, and it's like, well, what's going on here? Take a look at this weirdness. What is this? What is that? So it's just very confusing sometimes because, I mean, the feeling you get when you think that you've got something, it's excitement, and then like it's a bubble buster really, because you never can get what you're looking for here. And we've caught a lot of paranormal stuff. That day I decided that I wanted to see if we can catch some kind of anomaly up there, or some kind of creature, cryptid creature, anything. So I set up the game cameras, and I actually did a no-no and set it up on the grave itself. And it was pointing at my grandmother's grave, and my grandmother always used to tell me, you know, that she had a guardian angel, and before she died, she would say that she'd seen her guardian angel that would hang above her bed. Well, we captured what looked like an angel above her grave.
Spider web? Insect close to the lens, or some type of apparition.
We've had orbs of different colors. We've had strange noises, and we've had even the white orbs that seem to dance in the sky.
Once again, Wineberry seemed to be calling us back. This time, we would take a little something extra with us.
All right, so we're back out here at Wineberry, our home away from home.
Yeah, we got some interesting news last night. Apparently there's something going on here with orb sightings and whatnot. So we want to come up here and check this out as soon as possible. And we have Beth here, and we're going to get a really quick statement on that. And then I'm going to go around and we're going to check out some of this stuff.
Take some readings here and there and see if we can detect anything.
See what's here. So
we somehow managed to beat the weather. It was supposed to be a nasty, icy mess today, but we did good. Lucked out.
So after we came up here and did our first investigation, the whole Wineberry thing, I told you that things may get a little weird if we were kind of right? Mm-hmm. So it got a little weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it wasn't exactly even what I expected at the time, because you started seeing, and you got photos of these little points of light.
Yes. It illuminates. I don't know what it is. And it goes from high to low. There it is again.
That was the first time that you had seen the orbs in relation to this, right?
The first ones were right here. And this last one was right down there by the rock.
Right.
And the first one had a bunch of them.
Okay.
This last one was just, it had a bright light above it, just like the other one, except for it was one point of light, and it was very bright red. So I had went out on the porch, and I had seen something white moving in the sky. And I wanted to go check that out. So I told Rachel, come on, let's get in the vehicle. Let's go check this out. And we ride up here, and we're looking up at this white thing. And I look over to the side, and there's this red floating ball just floating there. Didn't know what it was. And I remember Joe and Ron telling me not to get close to it. But here I am saying, I didn't get the picture last time, and I'd be daggone if I don't get it this time. So I rushed over there, staying safely the distance away from it where I knew that I wouldn't be harmed. But I needed to get a couple shots, and it just would slowly go across. It wouldn't go far, and it looked about the size. Well, I can't really tell the size of it from where I'm at, but it looked like the ones that I saw before. The ones that the
smaller golf ball size kind of thing.
And except for it was only one singular. Last time it was like, I can't remember how many, and they were just like undulating in the air, and it freaked me out. I remember trying to get in the vehicle, and it just felt like that I couldn't get in there fast enough. Whatever that is, like, oh my God. I don't know what that is. And I wasn't brave enough to try to stay and get photos, but this time I got a couple. A lot of this stuff isn't recorded that people have seen. I mean, I can sit here and tell you these stories all day long, but nobody else is getting the data that needs to be gotten here. So what I'm trying to do is just get a little bit of data so it would be brought to attention so that we can get down here and figure out at least a little bit, a portion of what's going on here, because nobody knows. It's a very strange place.
It just seems like this hodgepodge of paranormal stuff.
It don't make no sense.
Well, that's the whole point. And it kind of seems like it's just there to make you say, there's no way that this could be real.
Yep.
And there are skeptics who are going to look at this regardless of what we bring to the table, and they're going to say, that's just, this or that.
And that's funny to me, because they're not here experiencing this stuff. If they was to come here and sit and experience it, then they would change their mind. But they're going to sit on their couch or wherever they're at and say, oh, okay, that don't exist, this don't exist. Bet you if they came here, they would change their minds.
I think you have to open your mind when you come up here.
And another point that I want to make is that once I started with this, it wasn't as hectic. Like, things just start, like, one thing happens, the next thing happens, the next. And then, like, when I get onto something and I'm starting to figure something out, something else happens. So it's always making you go in different directions. You can't just sit and figure one thing out. It's always a jumble. And I think that's the way it wants it to be for some reason. It's never just normal. And if you look at the photo, it's going right that way, and it would be probably right around where that rock would be, wouldn't I would say.
So the rock right there.
Personally, I have no idea what is out here. I couldn't tell you what's out here. This place is weird. We brought some equipment along, and we're going to take a look and see if we can pick up anything. Okay, so We're in the area.
Yeah, we're in the approximate location where Beth
She
says
says
that she saw the
light. So I brought some equipment along.
Yeah.
And we're going to test this whole area out. And we're just going to see if there's anything here. I don't expect anything to be here.
Yeah, not
Flat
at
out,
this
to tell
point.
you.
If we find anything, it would definitely be an anomaly.
It will be a definite anomaly. But I also want to get some baseline readings here today. And when we come back later,
Right, we
we're
can
gonna
test
check
it
here.
here.
Let's fire this thing up and see what we get. I'm going to put it on standard electric. We're getting, look at that, absolute zero.
Zero.
That's what I expect to see, though.
.24 has been the highest reading I've had so far.
Okay, so we're not seeing anything anomalous as far as the radiation, electromagnetic radiation. Well, I've got 0.7 milligauss high.
Let's see, we're back at 24 again.
So at 24 CPM.
25, 27.
So that's still normal.
It's still well within normal.
Yeah, still well within normal range. Because this is too, but we had a 0.
We hit 30.
And now we,
30.
We just hit 30 there? Okay.
See,
Yeah, 30 CPM.
and holding.
And holding at 30. Oh, just dropped, right?
No, back
No,
line.
still at 30. Find out what's in there because that's that
30.
should be going back down.
Does it have quartz
That
rock
shouldn't
in
be
it?
30, 29, 30,
Yeah, that shouldn't be staying there.
31.
A little closer. That's about the area.
I do have a very, very weak magnetic field right here, guys. Let's see if we can get where the high was. Hang on. Yeah, there it is. You got normal.
Yeah, everything's normal.
It's all normal now. Yeah, it's completely normal now. So you had 30 up here. And it stayed there for a while.
It did. It went between 31 and 29, back and forth for a solid minute.
Yeah, and now as I'm standing here,
It's down into
back
the teens.
to where it should be. So let's hold out here for just a second and see if it goes back up into the 30s. Just in this area. Well, you were near this rock.
Yeah,
right?
I was down here.
Come on down here near this rock. Let's get near this rock. Watch this little deer trail here. It's muddy. So you're right in this range here. When it started doing it. So let's see if we can replicate that.
Smell where a skunk has been.
Yeah. Radioactive skunks. That's a new one. Yeah, I don't.
It's not coming.
It's not doing it, right?
So Beth, we
didn't get it.
We didn't. No. Was it not recording?
Wasn't recording.
So we didn't get any of that.
Prior to this, while talking about the phenomena, we seemed to get a strange response. But we didn't get it recorded because the camera somehow got disengaged. But I got an idea. I wanted to test something. So we gave it a shot.
Man, it's weirdly quiet out here, too.
Yeah.
The dog's barking.
You've got some crows in the distance, far distance, and the dogs.
All right, so what were we doing before? We were talking about that. We were talking about this. So, we had just got weird readings over here near the rock.
Just nothing insanely high, but just higher than the average, and it stayed there.
It stayed there. You were up there, and it shouldn't have just stayed there.
No, it should have spiked and went down.
It shouldn't have just stayed there. You see this, right?
I can't see it because the angle I'm at. I just see the glare on the screen.
We just hit a 1.4.
Okay.
Okay, so we stayed there at the 30, 31 or whatever
Yes,
it was, right?
31 was the highest point.
31, 32, something like that. Either way, we had the same thing happen up near the spring that one time.
We did.
You caught that up there, but it was very fleeting. This time, it sustained right here.
It did.
And this is where she said she saw this.
And I tried to check the ground for anomalies to see if it was reading from the ground. The closer to the ground I got, it went down, but when I brought it back up about waist level, that's when it returned back to 30.
Okay. So now we're running a spectrum analysis because a little bit ago, we got a spike on this thing.
We did.
In the 1.6 range again.
And the 1.6 range is a restricted bandwidth. Nothing should be broadcasting on
Absolutely.
that.
So especially not out here in the middle of this holler where you
Right.
can't even get a
Absolutely.
cell phone signal, right? So we're trying to see if we can get that to come back in. And so far, 1.4, 26, 25.
We're still within normal
Okay,
range.
we're still within normal range. Nothing weird's happening here. So this is all normal. Camera's rolling, so we're gonna make sure it works this time. If it doesn't, I'm really gonna be surprised because I hit the record button. All right, so everything's good here. This is normal. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
But watch this. Let's start talking about what Beth saw. And watch this.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in here. We take the Geiger counter up. We're getting normal levels. At first, we're getting nothing.
No, yeah, we got very, very low levels.
Very
and
low
then-
levels.
Then rose to normal levels, which is expected.
Yep.
And then we began to examine the area where
Yep.
this red light was seen.
Right.
Well, while we were investigating that and just doing a baseline check,
Yep.
we'd started to get some anomalous readings. Beth had some strange feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the 1.6 range on the
Right.
spectrum.
Right. So again, this kind of goes right along with the lines of this weird place.
Yes.
There's a lot more going on here. There it is, 1.660. Right there it is. Every time we talk about this,
It comes back.
it comes back. That's data. I don't know what to do with that, but it's right there.
It's a little
undeniable,
concerning. It's a little concerning.
but it's undeniable, right?
Do it again.
And it falls right within line of everything I've been saying. Whatever's out here, whatever that's going on out here, these things are aware,
They're aware
of
of
what
it.
we're talking about.
It goes, are we dealing with some form of non-human intelligence?
That's where I'm leaning with this, and you know that's where I'm leaning with this. But we need more data on it, and I think we're in the right place to get that
I think
data.
so.
And you said before, when you talked about this, long time ago.
Real quick pause.
Yeah, what'd you get?
We're closer to
I
the
know.
lines now, and
I
you're
know.
getting a lower reading here.
Huh?
That's weird.
Is it on? Yeah, it's on magnetic.
Yeah.
We should be getting the EM right here.
Mm-hmm.
0.1?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is.
No, 1.66. At 79 decibels.
Hold it down a little bit. There it is.
And it's, did you get it?
I got it, right? I think I got it anyway. I got a 2.49 right now, but I see the 1.6. It's right there. So that happened right before I started to ask questions, right? All right, so you watch that. You call it out, okay? Beth, you said before, a long time ago, that some of your family members thought this place was, in their words, evil, right?
Right.
So elaborate on that a little bit for me.
There have just been things that have been saw here that make people not want to come back out here anymore.
So it doesn't fit
And-
into
and
the normal.
Right. It's just strange. Paranormal. It's just everything that you think scary. That's what is up here. Honestly.
That's pretty much what happens up here.
Yeah. Anything and everything you can think that scares somebody. It's happened almost. A couple of them seen a black mass. Well, actually, that thing's been seen all over this holler. I can't stand one.
Can you describe the black mass?
Well, down by my house, the one that is seen is just a full body, and it's huge. My aunt said it jumped into her dog lot, and that dog lot was about 7 foot high, and it jumped out and screamed like a banshee running up the mountain. And then the other one of my family members seen was down here in this little hollow, and it was a black figure with a cloak, which sounds weird, but that's what they seen in their normal people, and with a little white thing walking beside of it. So like it's just strange, like just weird things.
What we got?
1.6.
Yeah, we do. There it is.
And the woman that was with Mom died shortly after they seen her.
So, I still have a steady 1.6. Very strong signal. Now,
Have you yourself ever felt any, like,
Oh,
I hate to use the word, but any like sense of evil or foreboding, anything like that? Or is it just kind of like fear and just get out?
Sometimes I'll have to get out of the hollow because I'll get depressed. Like it's once I leave this place, I'm okay. Now this is not all the time, but every once in a while, like I have to get out of here. Okay. I mean, I'll find myself just in a awful state, like hateful and grumpy and depressed and it just for nothing. Okay. And then once I leave, I'm fine, and then there's the other feelings of sometimes when you come up here, it's dread or it's anxiousness or anxiety and stress. Like it's just, there's something here that's just not normal. And you know what, it's misunderstood more than anything. I think, I don't think it's evil. I think it's more, misclassified, misidentified. It's just electricity, energy, just something here, just very powerful.
So, we talked about this years ago. When we first came up here, you said there's some weird stuff that happens up here. And you said there was UFO sightings up here as well, right?
Yes.
So they've seen UFOs, they've seen apparitions, they've seen non-human things, right?
Yes.
Weird paranormal stuff.
There have been 2 cases of doppelgangers.
Really?
Sure have.
Wow. Can you explain that one?
This was back in the 70s, I think, and they're deceased now, but it was my mom's aunts, and one of them was in a couple towns away, and the other one was there, and she said that she just walked past her and she wouldn't say nothing to her, and then later on she called, and she was all the way in the other town. So whatever it was, just walked past her, didn't say anything. And the other one was when my mom was with my grandmother. My grandmother was getting sick, and she had the camera set up to where she could see if anything happened to my grandmother. Well, when my mom picked up her cell phone in Beckley to check on my grandmother, my mom herself was sitting there in the living room. So that's another case. So that was in my house. And
that happened in your physical house right now, where you live now?
Yes.
Okay.
We have people that have seen apparitions since they were little. Even a member of my family seen a Chinaman in that house right there looking over her when she was asleep and she was young. From doppelgangers to black masses to UFOs to the orb to just you name it. And it's been seen here. And it's just strange. I don't know if we'll ever know exactly what it is, but it's something.
I think we've kind of got the data that says you're absolutely right about that. There's definitely some weird stuff going on out there.
It's strange here.
Honestly, it's one of those things where I feel a little unsettled, if I'm being completely honest. I expected some kind of anomaly today.
Yeah.
I did not expect a repeated 1.6 signal.
Yeah.
At a really high decibel rate, no less.
And the decibel is the power of the signal. Okay, so that's when we say that's the power of the signal. So that has, that means that whatever it was very strong right there in that area.
Almost as if the beam
while it was there.
Almost as if the signal was being directed straight at us.
The idea was to go in there and recreate everything that we were doing.
Yep.
And we did. All it was a matter of was saying, okay, let's start talking about the exact same thing we were talking about, and we got reaction.
It seems like the telling of the story, when Beth began to recount what happened and where it happened and what was saw, it was as if that signal then just came to life. What that means essentially is that something was there and listening, and whatever that thing is that is listening was listening for itself.
It almost seemed like something was very aware we were there. Something was trying to communicate.
To get our attention.
It was communicating in some form, right?
Yeah.
I would call that contact.
Yeah.
What it was, I don't know. That's the data, and we're going to look at it a little bit more. But yeah, like you said, we're coming back out here, and we're bringing everything the next time, and we're going to see what we can find out there.
Wineberry was now causing us to ask a lot of hard questions, so it was time to reach out to other researchers for their insight into what could be going on. Steve Ward is a noted historian and researcher of all things paranormal. His specialty, though, is John Keel, and I wanted to know more about what Keel thought about some of these phenomena, especially his ultra-terrestrial theory.
The ultra-terrestrial idea was only one aspect. And what he was really talking about there was that these objects, whether they be UFOs or some kind of a cryptid, he called them transmogrifications of energy. There was some kind of a intelligence or source, sort of extra-dimensional, that we might even sort of co-create with our belief system. The objects, if you go throughout history of UFOs, seem to change their identity somewhat. You have the meandering lights, and some people thought, well, they're fairy lights, or some even thought they were witches carrying their lanterns on a broom. And then you had the majestic airships, always ahead of our technology. Some of them, I'm sure, were journalistic hoaxes, but some of them were just blobs of light. And then you get into the ghost flyers in Sweden. You get into the more science fiction era, where you're getting little green men, essentially, maybe not too green, but landing and so forth. So he really thought that there was something connected with human consciousness, but not necessarily hallucinations. Although he did think that some of these experiences were hallucinatory. Again, not an illusion, but something outside stimulating some of these experiences where they weren't totally physical.
In 1972, in his book, The UFO Experience, Dr. J. Allen Hynek proposed his famous scale of CEs, close encounters. Along with this, he also addressed some of the more strange aspects of UFO encounters. Incidents of paranormal activity, creature sightings, and other strange aberrations, which may follow a UFO sighting, were labeled as high strangeness. Other researchers at the time were starting to recognize that there may be something more going on with such encounters, and that these incidents were not new, but could possibly be traced back to the dawn of human storytelling. What were we encountering at Wineberry? We reached out to another researcher into Fortean Matters for more opinions on this.
My name is Tony Breeden. I am an author, artist, speaker, and Fortean researcher. So we've always had two classifications of lights that we can't explain. And one have been like these really big ones up in the sky, and then we also have these little ones. And these little ones can range from really small, like firefly size, to maybe beach ball size is a good way to put it. And they have shown up in our stories about fairies, our ghost stories, obviously. Sometimes they have shown up as things that are, you might even consider maybe the burning bush that Moses saw, something along those lines. We've always seen something in different contexts that was just like this smaller version of things. It kind of brings to mind like fairies that will show up as a little ball and then turn into a whole figure. We've turned that into a Disney fantasy since then. But back in the older times, we had things like, well, fairies, we've mentioned that, and more specifically, will-o'-the-wisps. Will-o'-the-wisps were entities that were meant to lure unwary travelers off into the swamp or into the bogs or off into the mountain somewhere where they would get lost and never seen again. There was actually a swampland or a marsh in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, that had that reputation back in pre-Civil War days. And they actually had a ritual you had to go through to keep yourself from being lured into the marshes by the will-o'-the-wisp. If you saw the will-o'-the-wisps and they were a common sight, you had to throw yourself to the ground and turn your pockets inside out. Now, I don't know why that worked, but I know that there was a ritual, and I know that it was noted in Shepherdstown that this is before the railroad came in or anything. So even over here in America, we kind of carried these ideas that will-o'-the-wisps were something not to be trusted.
Were we dealing with the same type of phenomena? Were the strange orbs that Beth had captured on the video and the other paranormal incidents on the land somehow related to whatever these early witnesses were calling fairies and will-o'-the-wisps? More importantly, how could we explain away what seemed to be a form of direct interaction or contact with an unseen intelligence on the property? We decided to meet back at headquarters and go over what we knew about Wineberry and to make some plans for a future return.
So we went up.
Yeah.
We went up and we, again, documented the whole thing. And where we were at on the site, where this thing was seen, you had the Geiger counter
Yeah.
this time.
Yep.
I had the tri-field. And the Geiger was okay, but you went up near this rock.
Right.
And when you went up around near that rock, what happened?
Elevated readings. Instantly, they started going up, almost like the area had been contaminated by something. And then just moments later, dissipated back to baseline.
I went back to grab the camera to go up there and film the Geiger counter. As soon as I pointed the camera at that Geiger counter, it goes to 17.
Yep, back to
Straight
baseline.
back to baseline. It's like it never happened.
Yeah, it was wild, and that wasn't the only strange thing that happened on that trip. So I was almost in the area where she was getting the photograph.
You were. That's what's significant about this. You were in the same area where this thing appeared. It would have been near that hillside.
Then right back to baseline.
I decided to pull out the spectrum analyzer. And we had what amounted to an ITC session.
Right.
And I thought the camera was recording. I hit record on that.
So explain real quick what an ITC session is.
That is instrumental transcommunication. And instrumental transcommunication is basically when you use any instrumentation to try to contact a non-human intelligence of some sort.
So we were set up, we were at the tailgate of the truck.
Yeah.
We had, we've got baselines on this area from years back. And we were reading those same baselines. So we knew where we were, we knew anomalies, right?
Right.
And then things got weird. You started talking to Beth.
Yep.
And you had her describe what all happened the night that she took the picture of this orb.
Right.
And things went off the rails.
It did. And what was really strange is holding the spectrum analyzer, it goes to 1.660
Yeah.
gigahertz.
And it stayed there. We had a very strong signal.
It stayed there.
Yeah.
And it locked. And I was just amazed at this because, you know, we hear this a lot, right?
Yeah, it's the signal.
It is the signal. So I'm like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And we caught it on camera. I'm elated, right? And you were too.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, you know, it's almost like this thing's communicating at this point because we had to do it several times. Mm-hmm. So I go back to stop the camera and the camera was not on.
So Beth, we
didn't get it.
We didn't? No. Was it not recording?
It wasn't recording.
So we didn't get any of that. Right.
I turned that camera on. The first time, the camera didn't get it. But I'm like, you know what? Let's try to replicate what just happened.
Yeah.
This is a control as well, right?
Right, because
nothing should happen.
No.
Nothing should happen.
If it's a true anomaly, nothing should have happened. We should have got just nothing.
This is what happens.
This is normal. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
But watch this. Let's start talking about what Beth saw. And watch this.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in here. We take the Geiger counter up. We're getting normal levels. First, we're getting nothing.
No, yeah, we got very, very low levels.
Very low levels.
Then rose to normal levels, which is expected.
Yep.
And then we began to examine the area where this red light was seen.
Right.
Well, while we were investigating that and just doing a baseline check, we'd started to get some anomalous readings. Beth had some strange feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the 1.6 range on the spectrum.
Right. So, again, this kind of goes right along with the lines of this weird place.
Yes.
There's a lot more going on here. There it is, 1.660.
Now, that little bar at the bottom was a 1.660. at about negative 79 decibels is what that was.
Right. And it was a focused signal because it stayed around. We had got almost an identical signal that we took photographs of. And it was stayed around long enough for me to take 4 photographs.
This is what you're talking about. What we got?
1.6.
Here we do. Again, this happened when she was telling us about this thing that was seen in the family. Long ago.
And it was repeated.
Yeah.
We got it multiple times in that same frequency range, coming in at the same decibel level. And that was a very, very good catch of what very likely was a directed signal. Now, why?
I have no idea.
Why? There's no way to answer that, because over the last 6-8 months at this point, I've gone through and I've done a lot of digging on this signal, because we've gotten this signal.
We've seen this signal multiple
all
times.
over the place. We've gotten it all over the place, from Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, where you were out in Arkansas.
I caught it at the beach on Edisto, where there was absolutely nothing around.
Right.
There was no signals, period. We were on almost a deserted beach. There was nothing out there, and we were doing. We were watching UFOs. We were actually doing sort of a C5 type contact experiment right then, and it happened.
Well, because we've gathered it everywhere, and we see it coming in at different frequencies. It's 1.64, 1.67, 1.68. It's all over the place, coming in at varying noise levels. And then I started having to take a step back.
Yeah.
Because it's
too frequent,
way too frequent. And so I started digging in and looking at what all causes this signal to be generated. And after that, because I'd put together a list of what generates these signals. You got low band radar that uses it. We know we have satellite phones that use it. We know we have cell phones and CPU units can clock at those speeds. GPS mostly is the biggest utilization of that. But months down the road, after looking into this further, I found out that the FCC maps that we were given, that we've been looking at and referencing, that have all these blacked out areas on the 1.6 band, they're old, they're outdated, they're 20 some years old, they're 18 to 20 years old, and we're seeing that there's now a whole lot of commercial use in that signal frequency though. So we've got SpaceX that they uplink using that to their satellites. We have Globalstar that's using it for satellite bag phones. T-Mobile's broadcasting on it. Dish uses it for their satellite signals for not just their satellite TV, but phones as well. And you've got the federal government Infranet, which is a secured internet signal. It's a backup for the terrestrial, and it's being broadcast out on that. And it's coming off of there's 9,800 satellites in orbit, and of the 9,800, 7,600 ballpark are broadcasting somewhere on the 1.6. So at any given point, wherever you're standing with a spectrum analyzer, you will be able to detect a random, blink and you miss it, 1.6 signal.
But you just caught that.
Right.
Random.
It's a random blink and you miss it. Now, if you get a directed signal, a high energy signal that is sent, you're going to notice it. It's going to show up in the waterfall, and it's going to be there. It's going to be present. Now, these blips that show up, they look like little dots as they show up on the map. But these directed signals, like the one that we got, that was different. That was a directed signal. That one, to me, holds the most weight of any of the 1.6 that we have captured anywhere we've been, because it was repeated.
We have to address it because it is, it's a lot of talk right now. There's a lot of people talking about it.
It's popular.
There are paranormal groups who have gone out and bought spectrum analyzers.
Yep.
They have seen what has happened on a very popular show. And I get it. I really do. Because my whole thing is, I honestly don't know what that is.
Yeah.
The satellites? Yes, 100%. And I think we can see those. However, like you said, the ones that seem to be prolonged, the ones that seem to be responding to some of these, these ITC sessions.
Yeah.
I think we need a protocol when we deal with this from now on as well.
Oh yeah. When we were at Beth's, the time that we recorded it, where we just showed the footage from, I had actually switched my phone into airplane mode because I had already discovered that GPS off your phones run off of it, and all the other terrestrial-based generated 1.6. So I wanted to try to eliminate that with me being close in range to the spectrum analyzer. I at least wanted to eliminate the fact that my GPS could maybe reach out and touch something even though I didn't have it open. So with that said, we eliminated that variable. Your phone was set and recording, so it was running.
It was on airplane anyway.
And it was right. Where we're at, we was on airplane and you were recording, so that way all your battery life was focused to the camera.
It's also very important to mention that at Wineberry, you don't have a signal.
Yeah, you don't. There's no phone signal at Wineberry. So we had an isolated event that was in an ice control, and then we have these other random occurrences of this signal where when we see it happen, like you said, there needs to be a protocol, turning your phone into airplane mode, seeing if you're still getting it at that point. Go ahead and make sure that nobody's got a satellite phone in their cars or anywhere near you.
You also mentioned the clocking speeds. That's important. Because
Right.
some of these units are strong enough to actually pick up the clocking speeds of the CPUs and the processors,
Yeah, right. Because that's what a lot of spectrum analyzers are used
Yeah,
for.
that's what they're used
They're
for.
used by sound engineers
Yep.
and computer engineers
Exactly.
to test speeds and sound qualities.
That's what we use them for in electronics. We would monitor actual sound waves, actual radio waves. So I'm kind of familiar with how that works, but again, can we be looking at something? And I think that's the key. We need to make that protocol because it's kind of like with the spirit boxes.
Right.
Right? Everyone uses spirit boxes. They swear by spirit boxes, and that's utilizing an existing signal.
Yeah.
Could something be using or utilizing an existing signal? Could that just be us picking that up because that's just how it comes through? We don't know. That's the data we need to gather.
You want to make sure that you have multiple devices.
Right, exactly.
So have a tri-field, a millimeter, something,
Yeah.
as well as a Geiger counter. Run all of that data. If you see anomalies spiking on multiple data sources, which we have,
Yes, we have.
then that goes on the table. At that point, you have
You have to.
solid data. You don't have just a random signal. It's not by chance you picked it up. You got a directed signal.
I agree. Multiple validation.
Multiple validations.
Cases is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think that that's exactly how we need to go from now on. Like I said, these new protocols, and we'll reach out to the rest of the collective and make sure that they all are following that protocol.
Right.
That way, we can make sure that what goes on the table is the exact same thing. We're looking at the same thing.
So what do you say we test these protocols out, get back out to Wineberry,
Oh, absolutely.
and put this to work and see what we get?
Oh, absolutely.
That was a positive 9.
Position.
Yeah.
And where we'll. Did you hear that?
111.
111.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're getting orbs down here.
Maybe there's an intelligence out there, and maybe it's determining how we see it.